والسلام, showed positivity through different acts of worship. Whenever he went through trials, he would show more obedience and show more acts of worship and dedicate more acts of worship to Allah. We know the story of when he was in Mecca praying by the Kaaba, and one of the Quraysh, he approached the Messenger of Allah والسلام, this man called Uqba ibn Abi Mu'ayt, and he took camel intestines filled with filth, and he threw it on the back of the Messenger of Allah والسلام. And we consider and we think about the trials we go through today as Muslims. Think about those days when there were only a handful of Muslims, and we will think somebody praying will be protected by Allah while he's praying. Yet the Messenger of Allah والسلام, as we said, was tested more than anybody else. So while he's praying by the house of Allah in Mecca, this happens to him. And so when Fatima rushes to her father and removes the camel intestines from his back, the Messenger of Allah والسلام, sits up, and Uqba ibn Abi Mu'ayt and the other members of Quraysh, Abu Jahl and others, Umayy ibn Khalaf and others, they are standing there and they're laughing. And so the Messenger of Allah والسلام, raises his hands and he says, Allahumma alayka bi Uqba. Oh Allah, I leave the affairs of Uqba to you, and the affairs of Abu Jahl, and the affairs of Umayy ibn Khalaf. To you belong the state of affairs. Do as you please. And they became afraid. The same companion who narrates the story, he says, I saw all of those people he made dua against on that day, their bodies strewn across the plains at the Battle of Badr. They had all been killed. And so look at how positivity, the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, knowing that Allah will help him either today or sometime in the future, having this optimism, helped him ﷺ. We know the story when the Hijrah was made and they were hiding in Ghar Thawr. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu along with the Messenger of Allah ﷺ. And Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu is saying to the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, when the Quraysh came, he said, all they have to do is look down and they'll see us. And then we will be killed. Then it'll be over for us. And so the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, he said, مَا ظَنُّكَ بِاثْنَيْنِ اللَّهُ ثَالِثُهُمَا. What do you think, O Abu Bakr? Of two people, Allah is the third. لَا تَحْزَنْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَنَا. Don't worry, don't be sad, verily Allah is with us. So you have this sense of optimism even in times of certain death. Even in times when Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, the greatest companion who ever lived, is sure that they're going to be killed. He's almost certain it's going to happen. Yet the optimism here is of such an extent that the Messenger of Allah والسلام, is remembering Allah. So remembering Allah in times of trial is actually key. It's the key to make sure that a person remains positive. When the Messenger of Allah والسلام, passed away, we saw the companions responding in a similar way, where they would always be positive. Umar radiallahu anhu, when he was leader of the Muslims, he would always make dua that he would die in Medina. And he would always make dua that he would die a shaheed at the same time. And so the companions would say to him, how can you die a shaheed while you're in Medina? Either you go out and fight, or you're going to die a natural death. You're not going to be killed in Medina. It's the safest place in the Islamic world. And we know the story of how a fire worshipper, Abu Lu'lu'a, who was hired by one of the people in Medina to do some carpentry work, eventually, while Umar radiallahu anhu was praying the Fajr prayer, leading the Muslims in prayer, and as soon as he began the prayer, this man Abu Lu'lu'a, he came out with a double-edged dagger, which was poisoned, and he slashed Umar radiallahu anhu across the stomach, and along with other companions who were also injured, and some of them were killed. Umar radiallahu anhu, his stomach was cut open, and as he lay down, and the companions rushed to him, he reminded them at this moment in time of performing the prayer, of not abandoning the prayer. And so this is a case of a person having a certain state of mind, understanding what's important and what's not important. And when we think about this incident of Umar radiallahu anhu, we think about what state we would die in as Muslims. And how in fact, if one of us died while we were praying, while we were reading Quran, we will think this is the best type of death we could ever imagine as Muslims. The best type of death as Muslims would be to die in a state where we're praying or we're reading Quran or we're doing an act of worship. And we hear stories about people who pass away in this state. And then we think of calamities that Muslims are going through. And one of those calamities which took place a number of weeks ago was the massacre by the terrorists in New Zealand, when he entered those Masjid and he killed those people. But those individuals who passed away, they in fact have something that we could be envious of, because they passed away in a state where they were in the house of Allah, while they were remembering Allah, while reciting Quran, while praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Death happened to come to them in that state. One of the greatest deaths you could actually think of and imagine. So every single cloud has a silver lining. Every single calamity that a believer goes through, every single trial that a believer goes through, there's always positive things that we can take from them as Muslims. In fact, it's obligatory upon us to be optimistic. Because like we said, when you're negative about things, it's almost like you're questioning why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed those things. And it's almost like as if you're saying, it was wrong for these things to happen to me in my life. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Brothers and sisters, we were talking about being optimistic, being positive, and knowing that in fact optimism is something which is encouraged for a Muslim to do and to have. It's encouraged for a Muslim to be positive in all of his affairs. And in fact, medical research also shows, statistics show, that women who are more positive and have optimism, it's said that they are 30% less likely to have heart illnesses and heart diseases. Other statistics also show that people who are more optimistic and have a positive outlook on life have a chance and a capacity of living longer. As Muslims, we know this is down to the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But optimism, like we said, is something which helps a believer. And so long as an individual has life in his body, this in and of itself is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Regardless of how much wealth a person may have. If a person is poor, a person has no car, if he has no house, if he's, for example, destitute, if he has no family, if he feels like the world is against him, he always has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to turn to. Because he's still alive. He's still better than the one who's in the grave. So long as you're alive, you're better than the one who's in his grave, because the one who's in the grave can't worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala anymore. There's no chance of him having any more good deeds. While you're alive, you're still able to worship Allah, you're still able to do good deeds. And this is why the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us, Khayrun nas, that the best of people, man tala umrahu, are the ones who have a long life, وَحَسُنَ عَمَلَهُ, and their deeds are good. They have good deeds. They are the best people in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Understanding that once you pass away, all your deeds are going to be cut off. Understanding this, it will give you an appreciation of simply being alive, remembering Allah, doing dhikr of Allah, reading Quran, being able to pray, being able to smile at your Muslim brother or sister, spending in the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, feeding your children and your spouse, doing good deeds. Whatever they may be, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has still given you that opportunity and still given you the ability to be able to worship Him. Finally, brothers and sisters, a hadith I want to remind us all of, when he said alayhi salatu wasalam, referring to being positive and optimistic, is not looking and being disheartened by others who seem more successful than you, who seem to be wealthier than you, healthier than you, more successful. He mentioned in the hadith, don't look at those who are above you. لا تنظروا إلى من هو فوقكم. But rather look at those who are beneath you. Because this is something that will make a person favor and appreciate the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon him. He won't see those things as small. He won't see those things as insignificant. You're driving your car, you see someone with a better car beside you, and you start to think about your own car and how old it is, how it's barely moving. Yet you fail to see the person on the other side who's walking. You fail to see the person on the other side who's in a wheelchair. The person who isn't even able to walk, who isn't even able to travel from one place to another except with the aid of somebody else pushing them. So when you think of things in a positive way, this is something which could potentially change your life. And it's something which starts from yourselves. Each and every single one of us, we have the capacity and the ability to change what's in ourselves by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when a person changes what's in his heart, we have the choice to either choose to be positive or choose to be negative. And so when a person seeks refuge in shaitan, min sharri al-waswas al-khannas, from the evils and the evil outcomes and the evil consequences of the retreating whisperer, the one who whispers evil thoughts, shaitan. When we seek refuge in him, it's supposed to encourage us, in fact, to be positive, not to be negative. To think good things about Allah and to be positive about anything which happens in our lives. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gives us the ability to be able to be positive and to have optimism, and especially to be positive and have husnul dhan about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidun Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidun Majid. اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات إن الله يأمركم بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون فاذكروا الله العظيم الجليل يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم